Let us now look at an example of how you could make a plan and secure budgets. As mentioned earlier, you have a stipulated amount of time before which you would need to complete your plan and then seek budgets. In the game, you're given about 60 minutes for you to complete this particular activity. And as I said earlier, if you fail to do so within 60 minutes, the system would compute an automated plan and then give you budgets that you would need to work with. And I also would like to remind you of the workflow within the game. Once the head of marketing, strategy, and IT submits their plan, the entire plan goes to the operations department, who once completed would flow into the HR department, and finally the plan would be reviewed by the head of finance in order to secure budgets. Now let us look at how the marketing department would have to submit the plan. The planning screen distinctly contains three sections. The section on planning and budgeting, this is where you would be taking your decision. The section of reference, which is nothing but the choices that you have in order to make your decisions. And the section on snapshot, which gives you an overall view of your last year's performance. You would need to look at your last year's performance and the set of choices that you have in order to make your current year's performance. You also would be in a position to understand, if you have certain questions, you also would be in a position to understand these answers to those questions by looking at the FAQ section by clicking on the I tab on the top right hand corner. Let us now look at a plan. Head of the marketing and the sales department, you would need to make your plan in the beginning of the entire planning process for the other departments to follow through. You would need to first determine your marketing strategy in terms of the products that you would like to promote, the segments that you would like to target, and the territories in which you would like to do business with. Having determined the products that you would like to produce based on the segment and the quarter-wise demand, you would first need to make your plan. Please note that you would need to make your plan for every product separately. So which means to say that you would first plan for Kisan Micra in determining the product allocation, the distribution and advertisement, the sales force, and then once you have completed the decisions for Kisan Micra, you would then subsequently be taken to the planning for Shift Micra. So you plan for one product at a time. You would then need to determine the overall market share. Having determined the product, you would need to determine the overall market share that you would like to target for the year, which will determine the overall products that you would be selling in the market. For example, you can target 100%. There's absolutely no problem in targeting 100% of the market share. It's more of a wish. However, you would need to take into consideration that there are other competitors present in the market. You also would need to take into consideration your current resource constraints in terms of the plant capacity and the money that's available to you. You also would need to take into consideration the amount of swing in terms of market share that you would like to have from your competitors. Having determined the market share that you would like to target, you would need to enter the market share, and the overall products that you would produce would automatically get computed. The next critical decision that you would need to take is to determine the quarter-wise split. This quarter-wise split helps the operations team in making their plan, which is to say that you have an opportunity to, you will have an opportunity to sell 100% of your planned products in quarter one, or you also have an opportunity to plan as a staggered manner in terms of 25% each of the quarter. This is a function of your resource availability in terms of both the manpower and the capacity which is available in your company. Having determined the quarter-wise split, you would now need to determine the average product price. This comes from your past experience in terms of the price that you have set and the overall sales which has happened, and more importantly also the customer expected price. So you can actually take a look at the customer expected price and your past performance and that of your competitors in determining the price that you would like to set for your product. Having determined the market share and the price, you would now need to determine the budgets that you would like to seek for distribution and advertisement. Based on the amount of products that you would like to sell, the overall distribution margin is calculated based on an average value from your previous year's performance. On top of that, you could either choose to provide marketing, training, and incentive support to your distributors, and that would mean that you would need to incur more cost over and above the average distribution margins that you set for them. Buffer percentage is a set of percentage that you would like to provide in order to meet for certain contingencies and plan for certain exigencies which would happen when you are executing your plan. Advertisement cost is something that you would need to determine. And the way in which you determine the advertisement cost is to take a look at the overall customer expected awareness that you would like to create for the product and segment combination, and then take a look at the set of choices that you have in terms of the various advertisement modes and their effectiveness. For example, if you'd like to provide an ad in the Economic Times paper, this is the cost that you would like to incur, and this is the overall awareness score that you would like to secure. So based on the awareness score that you would like to achieve, you would need to determine the cost that you would need to be spending in order to determine the advertisement budget. So let's assume that I seek an advertisement budget of about 5 lakhs, and now I would need to make a plan on the overall sales force that I require in order to meet the stated objective of the number of products that I would like to sell. For example, if I'd like to sell about 10,000 units of products, I would need more sales force in order to meet the market demand. Now, the system automatically computes the number of required sales force based on the products that we intend to sell. The current column gives you information about the available sales force who are currently present in your department, and the required, as I said, is computed. Now, if you would want to set a buffer in order to manage attritions and other exigencies, you could add a certain set of buffer and determine to provide after sales and warranty support, and finally review your overall budget plan. As I said, you would need to plan for one product at a time. Now that you have planned for one product, the system will prompt you, asking you if you'd like to plan for the second product. Let's assume that from a demo perspective, you don't require to plan for a second product. You would need to press no, and you would be in a position to review the overall plan and the overall budget that you are intending to request from the finance team. Remember, if you seek higher budgets, then the finance head would need to secure that much amount of capital in order to approve your budgets, or he would be in a position to reject your budget for you to replan. And mind you that you only have about 42 minutes left. You would need to ensure that the first time that you're planning, you are a little bit more reasonable. So let us go ahead and then submit the plan. And once you have submitted, you will get to the budget summary screen, and you know that you as the marketing head would have submitted the plan.